I knew it was close. I thought it was very close, too close. But I said, rather than say, no, I don't want to do that, I said, Sergio, where are you going to be?
Clint Eastwood is a name that needs no introduction. From his rugged Western gunslinger days to directing some of the most powerful films in Hollywood, he's been a legend for decades. Fans have admired not just his career, but also his mysterious personal life, full of triumphs, heartbreaks, and whispers of rumors that followed him everywhere. And now, at 95, Clint has finally spoken up, confirming something fans had always suspected. Was it about his career coming to an end, or a loss that still lingers in his heart? Join us as we take a closer look at his journey from the very beginning and uncover the truth. The early life of Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood was born on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco. His parents were Ruth and Clinton Eastwood, who at the time lived near Lake Merritt in Oakland. At birth, Clint was a big baby, weighing over 11 pounds, and the nurses jokingly nicknamed him Samson. He also had a younger sister named Jean, born in 1934. His family background was mixed, with English, Irish, Scottish, and Dutch roots. Clint's family history even stretched all the way back to the Mayflower, as he was a descendant of William Bradford. This made him the 12th generation born in North America. Life in the Eastwood family changed often in Clint's early years. During the 1930s, they moved several times as his father searched for work. Later, they settled in Piedmont, California, and their lifestyle became more comfortable. They lived in a nice neighborhood, had a swimming pool, and were part of a country club. Each parent even drove their own car, showing the family's success at that time. Clint's father worked for Georgia Pacific as a manufacturing executive, while his mother later took a clerical job with IBM. But Clint's childhood wasn't always smooth. At Piedmont Middle School, he struggled with grades and was held back. He also had to attend summer school to keep up. In high school, Clint's troubles continued. He was asked to leave Piedmont High School after writing an obscene comment on a school scoreboard and burning an effigy on the lawn. These actions, combined with other misbehaviors, forced him to transfer to Oakland Technical High School. Despite the setbacks, Clint graduated on February 2, 1949. But before fame ever came, he worked many ordinary jobs. He was a lifeguard, paper carrier, grocery clerk, forest firefighter, and even a golf caddy. His path to success was still far away, but one day, everything would change. And it would begin with an unexpected turn during his time in the Army. A close call in the Army. In 1951, Clint Eastwood planned to attend Seattle University. But instead of college, life sent him in a different direction. He was drafted into the United States Army during the Korean War. While serving, he was stationed at Fort Ord in California. During this time, people noticed him for more than just his work. Don Loomis, someone who knew Clint then, recalled stories that Clint was romantically linked to the daughter of a Fort Ord officer. This small connection may have helped him later, as some believed the officer kept an eye out for him when assignments were being handed down. Clint also had a frightening experience during his service. He was once a passenger in a Douglas bomber plane that ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean near Point Reyes. It was a dangerous accident, but Clint managed to survive. He and the pilot used a life raft and swam 2 miles to reach safety. It was a story of survival that could have ended very differently. After his service, Clint was discharged from the Army in February 1953. His military time had not only shaped his toughness, but also placed him in the right place for what would soon become his career breakthrough. Because while at Fort Ord, Hollywood would unexpectedly come knocking. A break into acting. The story goes that while Universal International's film crew was shooting at Fort Ord, someone spotted Clint Eastwood and thought he looked like he belonged in front of a camera. According to a CBS press release about the TV show Rawhide, an assistant noticed him and invited him to meet a director. However, another account suggests it was actually a man named Chuck Hill who had Hollywood connections that played a bigger role. Clint later became acquainted with a cameraman named Irving Glassberg, who arranged for him to meet director Arthur Lubin. Lubin was impressed with Clint's height and looks. He stood at 6'4", but he wasn't impressed with his acting. He even said Clint was quite amateurish and didn't know what to do on set. Still, Lubin saw some potential and encouraged Clint to take drama classes. He also arranged Clint's first contract in April 1954, which paid him $100 a week. Clint's early days as an actor weren't easy. He struggled with stiffness and often delivered lines through his teeth, something that later became his trademark. In May 1954, he auditioned for Six Bridges to Cross but was rejected. Still, he managed to land minor parts in films such as Revenge of the Creature in 1955, Lady Godiva of Coventry, Francis in the Navy, and Tarantula. These were small roles, sometimes uncredited, but they were steps forward. Clint also appeared on television. In 1955, he was on Allen in Movieland, a program that starred Steve Allen, Tony Curtis, and Benny Goodman. Yet despite these chances, Universal eventually ended his contract in October 1955. It looked like Clint's career might be slipping away before it even started. But with persistence and the help of agents, he kept pushing forward, slowly building experience, and soon his patience would pay off with a role that finally gave him recognition. The Road to Rawhide. By the late 1950s, Clint Eastwood was still fighting for meaningful roles. He had played small parts in films like Lafayette Escadrille and Ambush at Cimarron Pass, the latter of which he later admitted was the low point of his career. But in 1958, he finally got the role that changed everything. He was cast as Rowdy Yates in Rawhide, a CBS Western series. It was exactly the kind of breakthrough Clint had been waiting for. Although he wasn't very fond of the character, Rowdy was younger and more clumsy than Clint wanted to portray, the show was a success. At first, Rawhide quickly climbed into the top 20 in television ratings. From 1960 to 1961, it even peaked at number 6. For Clint, it meant steady work, but it also demanded long hours. Filming often went 6 days a week with 12-hour shifts. Some directors even criticized him for not working hard enough. Still, the show gave him the platform to grow. During these years, Clint made his first attempt at directing by shooting promotional trailers for Rawhide. Though producers didn't allow him to direct an actual episode, it gave him early experience for what would later become one of his greatest strengths. As Rawhide started to lose its spark by 1963, Clint was already thinking ahead. The show was canceled in the mid-1960s, but not before it gave Clint his start. When the show ended, Clint had not only gained valuable acting experience, but also a hunger for more. And this hunger would take him to a whole new level of fame in the years to come. The spaghetti western years. In the early 1960s, Clint Eastwood was looking for a way to break out of his television image from Rawhide. That chance came when he accepted a role in an Italian western called A Fistful of Dollars in 1964. Directed by the then little-known Sergio Leone, the film was shot in Spain and offered Clint just $15,000 and a Mercedes-Benz. What Clint created, though, was priceless. He introduced the world to the man with no name, a silent, mysterious anti-hero who smoked cigars, wore a poncho, and spoke little. As Clint later explained, "I felt the less he said, the stronger he became." The success of A Fistful of Dollars was followed by For a Few Dollars More in 1965 and the classic The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in 1966. These movies, known as the Dollars Trilogy, turned Clint into an international star. While critics in the United States were harsh at first, audiences embraced the films. By 1968, Clint ranked in the top 10 money-making stars poll, proving he was now a force in cinema. But stardom in Europe was only the beginning. Soon Hollywood itself would call, and Clint was ready to answer. The making of a Hollywood star. By the late 1960s, Clint Eastwood had brought his European fame back home. He starred in Hang 'Em High in 1968, which became a major hit and gave him financial stability. With his earnings, Clint created his own production company, Malpaso Productions, which gave him more creative control. That same year, he appeared in Coogan's Bluff, where he first worked with director Don Siegel. This was the start of a long partnership.
Why do they call you Dirty Harry?
Together, they made several films, including Dirty Harry, which would forever change Clint's image. In the years that followed, Clint took on a wide range of roles. He fought Nazis in Where Eagles Dare in 1968, tried a musical with Paint Your Wagon in 1969, and kept exploring westerns with Two Mules for Sister Sarah in 1970. Each role pushed him further, showing he wasn't afraid to try something new. By the time the 1970s arrived, Clint had positioned himself as not just an actor, but also someone who wanted to take charge behind the camera. That shift was about to define the next stage of his career. The year 1971 was a turning point. Clint Eastwood made his directorial debut with Play Misty for Me, a thriller that won praise from critics. In the same year, he starred in Dirty Harry, playing Inspector Harry Callahan, a tough San Francisco cop with his own way of handling justice. The film shocked some critics, but audiences loved it. Harry's famous line, "Do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?" became legendary. The movie's success led to 4 more Dirty Harry films over the next 2 decades, making Clint one of the most recognizable stars in the world. During the 1970s and 1980s, Clint kept working hard, both as an actor and director. He starred in westerns like High Plains Drifter and The Outlaw Josie Wales, thrillers like The Gauntlet, and even comedies like Every Which Way But Loose, which surprisingly became one of his most successful films. At the same time, he directed films such as Bronco Billy, Sudden Impact, and Pale Rider. Some were praised, some were criticized, but all showed his determination to keep experimenting. By the end of the 1980s, Clint had established himself not only as a major star, but also as a filmmaker with a unique vision. Yet even with all his success, his greatest recognition was still ahead. Awards, acclaim, and a new era. The 1990s and 2000s brought Clint Eastwood the critical respect that had often escaped him earlier in his career. In 1992, he directed and starred in Unforgiven,
I got 6 more bullets in my gun.
a western about an aging gunfighter drawn back into violence. The film was a massive success, winning 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Clint. Critics hailed it as one of the best westerns ever made. From that point, Clint was not just a star, but also an artist respected by Hollywood. He continued directing and acting in memorable films throughout the 1990s. In The Bridges of Madison County, 1995, he played opposite Meryl Streep in a moving love story. In 2003, he directed Mystic River, which won 2 Oscars. The very next year, he delivered Million Dollar Baby, another Oscar-winning film that earned him Best Picture and Best Director once again. Even in his 70s, Clint was proving he could deliver masterpieces. As the 2000s went on, he directed 2 powerful war films, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima, the latter told from the Japanese perspective and praised worldwide. In 2008, Clint returned to acting with Gran Torino, which became the highest-grossing film of his career up to that point. And in 2009, he directed Invictus, a story of Nelson Mandela and the South African rugby team, further cementing his place as one of the great filmmakers of all time, directing in his later years. After 2010, Clint Eastwood focused mostly on directing. His film Hereafter came first, with Matt Damon playing a psychic. Critics were divided. Some praised the story, while others felt it was slow. Around the same time, Clint produced a documentary on jazz legend Dave Brubeck for his 90th birthday. In 2011, he directed J. Edgar, a film about FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. While DiCaprio's performance was widely praised, the movie itself received mixed reviews. In 2012, Clint returned to acting in Trouble with the Curve, playing an aging baseball scout. That same year, he narrated Chrysler's famous Halftime in America Super Bowl ad. Some thought it carried a political message, but Clint explained it was meant to be a message about job growth and the spirit of America. He continued directing, choosing a mix of projects. In 2014, he directed Jersey Boys and American Sniper. American Sniper was a massive success, grossing more than $547 million worldwide. In 2016, he directed Sully, starring Tom Hanks, about the heroic landing on the Hudson River. It also became a commercial hit. Not all his films were received well. The 1517 to Paris in 2018 cast the real-life heroes of a train attack, but critics disliked their performances. That same year, Clint returned to acting in The Mule, his first role in 6 years, playing an elderly drug courier. In 2019, he directed Richard Jewell, telling the story of the man falsely accused in the 1996 Olympic bombing. In 2021, Clint directed and starred in Cry Macho, a project long in the making, but it failed to impress critics and audiences. In 2023, he began work on Juror #2, released in 2024. It received positive reviews and sparked rumors it might be his final film. But when asked about slowing down, Clint himself once said, "I keep working because there's always new stories, and as long as people want me to tell them, I'll be there doing them." And while his career remained active, his personal life told an equally dramatic story: a complicated love life. Clint Eastwood's personal life was just as complex as his career. Over the years, he was linked to many women, both in casual and serious relationships. Some overlapped, and not all of them were publicly acknowledged. He has 8 known children with 6 different women, though he has never confirmed the exact number. His first marriage was in 1953 to Margaret Neville Johnson, but during their relationship, Clint was already involved in an affair that resulted in his first daughter, Lori, born in 1954 and later adopted by another family. In 1959, Clint began a long affair with stuntwoman Roxanne Tunis. Their daughter Kimber was born in 1964. This relationship continued for years, and the two kept a friendly bond until Tunis's passing in 2023. With Johnson, Clint also had 2 children, Kyle in 1968 and Allison in 1972. For a long time, Johnson tolerated the open marriage, but by the mid-1970s, their relationship came to an end. Clint's complicated love life didn't stop there. In 1975, he began living with actress Sandra Locke. She was still legally married to a sculptor friend, but she and Clint built a public relationship that lasted more than a decade. Locke once said, Clint sang to her, "She made me monogamous," and admitted to her, "I have never been in love before." Yet despite the depth of that relationship, Clint's other affairs continued. It would not be the last time his love life drew attention, or the last time it would leave behind painful fallout. Secrets, lawsuits, and more children. Behind the public image, Clint fathered more children in secret. With flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves, he had Scott in 1986 and Catherine in 1988. These children were born during his time with Sandra Locke, though Locke did not know at first. When Clint and Locke separated in 1989, she filed a palimony lawsuit and later another lawsuit for fraud. Both cases were settled. In the 1990s, Clint had a relationship with actress Frances Fisher. Their daughter Francesca was born in 1993. This period also showed another side of Clint. While his career was shining, his personal choices often led to courtroom battles and family tension. Then in 1996, Clint married for the second time. His wife, Dina Ruiz, was a television news anchor. They had a daughter named Morgan the same year. For a while, it seemed Clint had settled into family life. But the marriage ended in 2014, and once again his private life became a subject of public discussion. By this point, Clint had many children of different ages from different relationships. Some were in the spotlight, while others preferred privacy. His story was not one of traditional family stability, but rather of many ties spread over decades. And even as age slowed him down, new chapters in his personal life continued to unfold. Love, loss, and the later years. After his divorce from Dina Ruiz, Clint was linked to other women. In 2014, he began seeing Christina Sandera, a restaurant hostess. They were together for a decade, though Clint never spoke much publicly about the relationship. Then in July 2024, Christina died suddenly from arrhythmia. Only after her passing did Clint confirm their long relationship, keeping with his lifelong habit of keeping private matters out of the spotlight. Earlier in 2018, his former partner Sandra Locke had also passed away. According to those who knew Clint, he considered her the love of his life, though he never commented on her death. His biographer once noted that Clint's number of children was still unclear, even mentioning he may have fathered a child while still in high school. Today, Clint is known to be with another partner, though her identity has not been shared publicly. Through all these years, one thing remains constant: his reluctance to reveal too much. Managers, agents, and even close friends have often denied knowing details about his personal life. Clint Eastwood has always kept a wall between his work and his relationships, and yet, through affairs, marriages, lawsuits, children, and loss, his private story has been just as dramatic as the movies he made. Now, as Clint steps into his mid-90s, that private journey blends with the public one. His life today shows not just the star we know, but the survivor he has always been. Life at 95. Clint Eastwood reached his 95th birthday on May 31, 2025. For many, this was not just a number, but proof of his incredible resilience. A year earlier, he had lost his longtime girlfriend, Christina Sandera, who died of a heart attack at age 61. They had been together for 10 years, and Clint called her a lovely, caring woman in a rare public statement. Despite the loss, Clint carried on quietly. His son Scott gave fans an update, saying his father was doing good and calling him a survivor, a trooper. Scott reminded everyone where that strength came from. Clint was born during the Great Depression and grew up in the years of World War II. As Scott explained, he saw a lot of struggle. That history shaped him into someone who doesn't complain and simply keeps going. Clint himself seemed to back that up. Speaking to an Austrian newspaper just before his birthday, he insisted that people should not worry about his health for a long time yet. He even added, "There's no reason why a man can't get better with age, and I have much more experience today. Sure, there are directors who lose their touch at a certain age, but I'm not one of them." For a man nearing a century of life, those words carried weight. Yet while Clint was speaking with confidence about his future, another story was about to stir confusion. An interview he supposedly gave went viral, but Clint quickly revealed it was entirely phony. The phony interview storm. Just after Clint celebrated his birthday, a supposed interview with Austrian paper Courier began spreading across the internet. In it, he was quoted criticizing modern Hollywood, saying filmmakers were stuck in an era of remakes and franchises. According to the piece, Clint longed for the good old days when screenwriters wrote movies like Casablanca in small bungalows on the studio lot. The article even had him repeating a line many fans thought sounded like him, "Do something new or stay home." At first, it looked like a bold statement from the Dirty Harry star, especially since Clint has always been known for his straightforward opinions. The quotes quickly made headlines, with many believing this was Clint's way of slamming the film industry at 95. But within days, Clint himself set the record straight. In a message to Deadline, he said, "A couple of items about me have recently shown up in the news. I thought I would set the record straight. I can confirm I've turned 95. I can also confirm that I never gave an interview to an Austrian publication called Courier or any other writer in recent weeks, and that the interview is entirely phony." His denial was firm and left no doubts. For fans, it was a reminder that not everything online is true, even when it sounds believable. The mystery of how the fake interview appeared still hasn't been solved, but what stood out most was that Clint chose to respond personally, something he rarely does. His silence has often been his trademark, but here he felt the need to make sure fans knew the truth. And while that story grabbed attention, his actual career work showed where his real focus remained. A director who refuses to stop. Even in his mid-90s, Clint Eastwood has shown no interest in retirement. He continues to direct films that keep audiences watching. His most recent project, Juror #2, released in 2024, was praised by both critics and audiences. Starring Nicholas Hoult, the film told the story of a family man caught in a moral crisis while serving on a murder trial jury. Hoult himself said working with Clint was unforgettable. "He is cinema in many ways," Hoult explained. "It's just magic to be on set with him and to have learned from him." Juror #2 was even rumored to be Clint's last movie, but insiders quickly denied those claims. Clint himself dismissed the idea of stopping, once saying, "I'll work as long as I can still learn something, or until I'm truly senile." It's not just words either. He has already been preparing new projects. While some of his later films have been met with mixed reviews, others, like American Sniper and Sully, proved he could still deliver major hits. His desire to keep working is rooted in his belief that age should not define limits. As he put it, "There's no reason why a man can't get better with age." His philosophy about filmmaking also sets him apart. "My philosophy is, do something new or stay at home," he explained in comments once linked to him, whether real or mistaken. This drive has carried him through decades of Hollywood change. Yet, as active as he remains in film, his personal world has been shaped by family, grief, and quiet moments far from the cameras. Family, loss, and quiet strength. Clint Eastwood's family life has always been complicated, but in recent years it has also been a source of comfort. His son Scott continues to follow in his footsteps, starring in films like Tin Soldier and Alarum alongside Sylvester Stallone. Scott has shared that the best advice his father ever gave him was simple: follow your gut. Clint's daughter Morgan also made headlines in 2024 when she married Tanner Koopmans in Carmel, California at Mission Ranch, a property Clint himself owns. While these family milestones brought joy, sadness was never far away. Clint's partner of 10 years, Christina Sandera, passed away in July 2024. He mourned her deeply, calling her caring and loving, though he remained quiet in public afterward. Friends and family have said he continues to grieve but does so in his own private way. Despite these personal trials, Clint has kept steady. As Scott said, he's doing good. He's a survivor, a trooper. That survival has been his defining quality. Born in the Great Depression, shaped by World War II, and tested by decades in Hollywood, Clint Eastwood has always faced challenges directly. Even now, at 95, his focus remains on moving forward. He rarely seeks the spotlight, appearing at only a few events, such as Jane Goodall's Reasons for Hope in California. When he does show up, people are reminded that they are in the presence of someone who has shaped cinema itself. And while fans debate whether each project will be his last, Clint himself keeps it simple. He will continue as long as he has something to say, something to create, and something new to try. What do you admire most about Clint Eastwood? His long career in Hollywood, or the way he's lived his personal life? At 95, do you think he should finally retire? Or keep making films as long as he can? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from Hollywood's fascinating history. See you next time.